settled, okay. So, television is and always has been the mind-numbingly wonderful love of my life. For as many wonderful relationships that I have with people in my own real world, I have just that amount in the deep relationships that I have with characters that have graced my screen over the past however many years of my living. So now I think it's only natural that I think of my character as a culmination of all the other characters I've ever watched. When I first saw Lindsay Weir on Freaks and Geeks in her dad's army jacket, I raided my dad's closet. Leslie Knope's passion for government on Parks and Recreation is about half the reason I applied to colleges as a political science major. Sorry, Mom. And Jon Stewart's candor on The Daily Show is about half the reason that that major recently switched to journalism. Sorry, Mom, but like times 10 more. And you know, sometimes I get lost, I'm sorry. And it might sound kind of pathetic, but TV has always given me the love and comfort that sometimes reality just can't. The thing about any episode you open of TV is that there's always going to be a plot and a structure, no matter how loose or poorly done. And I'm the type of person that needs this structure and direction in her life, whether she's experiencing it herself or watching it happen for someone else. And if you know me, and you know that I think that my life is a frantic hellscape 99% of the time, you know that this is usually me watching things happen to someone else. And, you know, TV was especially the safety net for me in my first semester of this year, my senior year, when I felt kind of uprooted for silly reasons. You know, I didn't know where I would go to college. My friends had already left for school, and I cried after taking the second calc test of first quarter, which Mrs. Patella can attest to because then she emailed my mom, and then I cried more because somebody finally cared about me, and it felt really good. On these hard days, I knew that I could go home and open an episode of The Office, and Michael Scott would inevitably make someone, including me, uncomfortable. Or I could watch an episode of Nurse Jackie, and if Jackie ever kissed someone, she'd look like she loved them. This kept me safe, this kept me sane, but it also created me a worry that I, unlike my favorite characters, was not living the interesting plots and narratives that I really wanted to. So I started an experiment. And again, it was based on television. My uncle in 2008 produced a comedy for CBS called The X List, starring Elizabeth Reaser, in which Reaser visits a fortune teller that says that she has already met and been with the love of her life. And if she doesn't rekindle that flame within the year, she'll be alone forever. So, to avoid eternal loneliness, Reaser makes a list of all her exes and essentially dates them again. I thought that my life would be really funny if I made a list of all the crushes I've had, grades K through 12, and just confessed to them that at some point I loved them. So here are my favorite results. Number one, I told my friend Aiden that third grade Lucy was really flattered when he said that she looked kind of like Queen Lucy from Pokemon. And I'm sure that the names being the same had like no relevance whatsoever. But current day Aiden looked kind of uncomfortable, and that's my fault, because we were at lunch with current day Aiden's current girlfriend. Number two, I told my friend Noah very passively at an AP Euro study review session that 7th grade Lucy liked him, and he just did this. Which I was thankful for because it meant less talking for me, and we all know how good I am at that. And then finally, I told my friend Matt, who's actually here tonight, that 6th grade Lucy was desperately in love with him. And since he's here, I'm just going to speak to Matt. I have never loved someone as passionately and desperately as I loved you. And I don't know if I ever will, but the thing is, however many years later, Matt just gave me, "Oh honey, I know." So, back to television. In the single perfect season of Freaks and Geeks, in the series finale, Lindsay Weir, who I showed earlier, runs off to tour with the Deadheads instead of going to the academic summit. And in the final season of Parks and Recreation, spoiler alert, Leslie Knope has triplets and a solid position as a congresswoman in Indiana. And I wasn't looking for results from this experiment like triplets or a position as a congresswoman in Indiana, because I don't really like Indiana that much, and I don't really want triplets right now. I'm not economically ready for that. I don't think that it would work out, but I wanted this to be something that led me somewhere. And unless you count here, which maybe you do, it really hasn't. Yes, this is a blank slide on purpose. As a kid, I was told that to have my own plots and narratives, I had to take part in writing them myself. And I wondered, and I still do wonder, why the one time I actually did, the one time I created a narrative for myself, nothing really happened. But yeah, this has been a pretty big year for me. I don't want to get too cheesy, but this is the first time that I think I've ever really felt myself grow and develop on my own independently. And it's the first time I've ever felt as comfortable as I do in my own skin. And yes, maybe this rom-com that I tried to create for myself didn't work out, but Ryan Murphy managed to do that for 6 seasons of Glee, and it's one of the most successful shows that Fox has ever had. So maybe you just don't want to take my advice and ignore the whole thing that I've been saying for the past however many minutes, because I'm 17, and at the end of the day, I can't tell you how to run your life, and maybe you could be making a lot of money right now, but it's fine. It's fine. Besides that, I've been living this unrelenting narrative and character development for my 17 years of being alive, and now a significant chapter of it is coming to a close. High school ends for me next Friday, and I like how it's finishing up. The X List was canceled after 3 episodes, but I'm still here, and I'm well, and I have a much better understanding that sometimes the greatest plots and narratives and just things that we have in life are the ones that just kind of unfold and happen for us, rather than the ones we force to happen, whether it's becoming best friends with a kid you never thought you'd talk to in 6th grade. See, that's the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's not a green screen. Or, also, that's my favorite picture of us, because he actually doesn't look like he wants to murder me. It's adorable. Or just finally being able to smile to yourself for no reason other than being extremely happy with where you are and who you are and what you're doing with your life for the first time in 2 years. These things aren't ones that you can calculate and watch, but they happen and they're beautiful, and when we do catch them, we need to cherish them as much as we can. So I hope that if you take anything from hearing me today, it's to treasure your own arcs. I am nowhere near a finished person. I don't think that anyone ever is, no matter how old or how wise or whatever. We're all constantly developing characters. But sometimes just by living, we get from that these amazing stories and moments and intense feelings. And in these stories and moments and feelings, whether you're watching or not, I believe you are the stars of something much more real and much more beautiful than any writer for the small screen can ever give you. So I encourage you to forget all your lines and just enjoy your time on air, because it is short, but it is wonderful. Thank you.